Hi everyone, it's Tasha. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. In my process of slowly and affordably curating a beautiful modern charm style home, I've sourced some secondhand treasures this past week that I think you'll appreciate. Let's dive right in with a Facebook Marketplace find that I'd been looking for a while, a bent wood coat rack. Now I finally found one, and as you can see they often go for a lot more, but I found mine on Marketplace for just $15. Now I did have a specific reason for looking for one of these and an idea in mind. As it turns out, I found one in the thrift store literally the day after I picked mine up from Marketplace meetup, but that's okay. I don't know how much they were asking for that one because it wasn't marked, but mine was only $15, and you can see that it has a little bit of an issue. It's kind of bent there on the main part of it, but that's okay because I actually wanted this one just for these nice curvy bent wood hooks that are on the top. And the first thing that I'm going to do is actually just go ahead and remove those completely. There's 2 screws in each one, and I have a little idea for them. So this only took me a couple minutes just to simply take that apart and take off all the hooks. I found out after I brought this home that one of these hooks was missing that little end cap piece there on the tip, but I actually only needed 5, so it worked out. So at our entryway, I have this kind of little half wall situation where we come in, and my thought was that I could replace these hooks, which I've had up for a while. I don't really, love them too much anymore. I was thinking I could replace them with these. It also doesn't hurt that this will go really well with this chest that I have here already, which we keep shoes in. So I'm gonna get started on this. The first thing I'm gonna do is fill in these existing holes. To fill in the holes of these, I just used some 𝓘𝓷𝓼𝓽𝓪𝓰 spackling that I had on hand. It's actually kind of an older bottle, so it was supposed to start out pink and then turn white when it was dried, but it never was pink. It was just white from the beginning, but it ended up working fine. So I just filled those in with a little gloved finger and waited about an hour for them to dry completely. And then I was able to go in with some sandpaper, which I used about a 220 grit sandpaper there, just to sand off the excess and get it really smooth. And then I turned my attention to figuring out how I was going to fill in those sections so that they blended really well, and luckily I had some of this gel stain on hand, both the gel version and the liquid version actually in the color 𝓘𝓷𝓼𝓽𝓪𝓰, and it just so happened to work really well with the color of these hooks already, and so I just dabbed that on and then spread a little bit more over the hook just to be safe and make sure it really blended in, but really the color match was pretty great right off the bat. Next, of course, I needed to remove my previous hooks and then fill in the holes that were left behind by those, as well as touch up the paint after sanding away where I filled in those holes. So I did have to do a lot of prep work, but step by step I'm getting ready to hang these new hooks in their new place. Now I wanted to make sure that these were hung as levelly as possible, so I used my laser level in this area and put a piece of tape exactly along that line, and this is just painter's tape so it can be taken off very easily. And then what I did was, since I had 5 hooks, was I divided the amount of this space, which was 36 inches exactly, by 6 so that I could come up with 6 even spaces, and then I'm just marking those measurements right here to figure out exactly where my 5 hooks should go. These are slightly different sizes from one another, so I know that they're not going to appear exactly perfectly lined up, but I want them to be as close as I can. Okay, so this is how I'm finding my center point to put my screw in so that these all end up in a row neatly and level. Is you see how there's this line on the tip right here? So I'm moving it just down until that line from my laser level is just barely over it, and see how it's now across the center right there, and I'm putting a pencil line right there, and that's the point where I'm gonna add my screw on each one of these so that they should end up pretty level. In the end, I realized that I did need actually 2 screw points rather than just 1, or else they were always going to have a tendency to turn side to side. And so I ended up adding not only 2 screw points, but also washers to each of those to spread out that hold and make sure they were really steady and really sturdy so that we could actually hang things on them. We do not have a closet in this front entryway, a coat closet or anything like that. So in the winter, we do need to hang things right here. And so I wanted these to definitely be functional functional and not just look pretty. But with those 2 points, it really worked out. These are very sturdy and I really love the look of them. The only problem was that at my hardware store, I could not find any washers that were black that would blend in more seamlessly with this color. But I just used a little bit of black spray paint that I had on hand and a matte finish. You can spritz a little bit of spray paint into something like a paper plate and actually apply it with a brush. It'll only last you for maybe 30 seconds or so where it's wet, but just a couple of little squirts of the spray paint and I was able to brush that right over top of these washers. In hindsight, I kind of wish that I would have just waited and grabbed some that were black from somewhere else, but it worked out. So in the end, after the washers were painted so they didn't stand out, I really love the way that these looked, and I can't believe I finally found one of these after looking for a couple of months actually for only $15. I think that it looks so beautiful, and this time of year particularly when they're hanging but we actually don't need our jackets yet is my favorite because I get to just style them without anyone's coats actually hanging there. So I'm really going to enjoy these next couple of weeks before we need our jackets. Next, let me show you really quickly a find that's not technically secondhand, but I did pick it up at a TJ Maxx for a reduced price, so I just wanted to share it. I thought that this pumpkin dish was so pretty. I love the color of it. It's from a brand called Haymarket Square, so you can search at your local TJ Maxx. They might have it. This one cost me $14.99, which I stopped and looked up, and I did feel like that was about half the price that they typically go for a casserole style dish like that. Somewhere like World Market, for instance, this is about $35 for a similar one. Also at Walmart even, it's about that same price point, so I thought that was a pretty good price for $15. I can't wait to style this on the Thanksgiving table. Next, I want to share with you just a little bit of footage from this very large thrift store that I visited this past week. This is called Living Free Superstore and it's in Burlington, North Carolina. Now, I only get over to this area maybe 2 times a year at this point. This one is very large, so I enjoy popping in when I can. It had that car up front this time, which was really cool. But I've noticed that although the store is not overly crowded, it does have a lot of inventory and some really interesting finds, some antiques, some vintage items, all sorts from clothing to home goods. I thought that these guys up front were very interesting for $10 each. Certainly not my style, but I always just kind of am interested in the selection of things that they have. And this shot should show you the general size of this store, just kind of doing a 360 there. It's very large, so it does take a little while to look through, even if you're not looking at the clothes, just the home goods. There's a lot. All of those racks there in the gray are home good items, and there's lots of books as well. So just a little footage from there. If you're in the area, it's a nice place to stop by. I ended up finding only a handful of things here, and some of those were more like books and things that aren't really home decor related to show you particularly, but it was a really fun trip. I did also stop by a large store in my area as well, and I found this beautiful outdoor chair that I was so tempted to get and do a makeover to. I really like the shape of this, the high back. I also found this wrought iron bench. It was very heavy, and I thought that it was a beautiful shape. I couldn't exactly think of a spot for it outside at our place, but it was only $79, and it was actually a set with that little table that came with it as well. Now, it would need some cleaning because it was very chipped. It would need repainting, so needs some work, but what a beautiful bench, I thought. And on the other hand, I also visited a very small thrift shop this past week over in Hillsborough, North Carolina, called Orange Congregations and Mission, and that one was really interesting as well. Had a good amount of home decor for such a small shop, and I found a lot of this pottery here together, a lot of little bud vases, and I did bring one of those home. That cream one caught my eye, and I'm always amazed when I look up even little small bud vases and small items like this. If you're shopping retail, they can be a lot more than you might expect for something small. So I paid $3.50 for mine, and you can see that they at certain retailers will run, you know, a lot more than that for sure. So I'm paying maybe 10% of what it would cost retail. And I really like the shape of this one, how it looks like it's maybe handmade, how it definitely has a kind of crooked top and it's not exactly even. It just has a nice organic shape. And I'm going to be styling this one right beside this silver bud vase that I picked up a couple of weeks ago and spreading out some of the dried carnations that I already had on hand for it. I also picked up, I think from that same shop, this set of tapered blue candles. These were kind of a dusty blue color, and I liked how they were thinner than normal. I have some marble candle holders that I picked up at TJ Maxx that I thought that these might fit pretty well, and they did end up fitting. Only paid $2 for the set of these, which had 5 intact and 1 that was broken. I like these initially from some points of view, but I'm not sure. You'll have to let me know, because this room gets lots of light, and while I like the way that these look a darker dusty blue in some lights with the full sun on them, they look a little bit bright to me, so I'm not sure I'm going to be keeping these here. And now for another marketplace find. I was just scrolling, not looking for anything in particular, and I came across this set of nesting tables and immediately knew that I had to go pick them up if they were still available. She was asking $60 for the set, and so the thing about these woven nesting tables is that these particular ones were from Target, and they were around $200 for the set, but they look so much like ones from 𝓘𝓷𝓼𝓽𝓪𝓰𝓻𝓪𝓶 that are over $3,000 for the set, and also from Pottery Barn for a higher price as well. So for me, this is a really high-end look for a very low price point, especially getting it for only $60. They were in perfect shape, and here's our cat Curry. He has to check out anything new that comes into the house, and he was very interested in these in particular. But I think that these are so nice and exactly what I'm looking for, because in my family room there is a sofa that is just very wide. It's more of a sectional type, and I like how you can put these together and basically adjust the depth just by simply sliding one out or back to the depth that looks good with your furniture. What I had in that spot initially was very small and really not deep enough. So here's the example from Pottery Barn I was talking about. Now this set is definitely less than 𝓘𝓷𝓼𝓽𝓪𝓰 at $600 and something, and also this one for $700, but still only paying $60 is a fraction even of these prices, and so I was really thrilled to be able to go and grab these. This is the spot that I was talking about, and so I'm just trying these out right here. I think that this set looks great in this spot, and I appreciate that they aren't overly yellow. I really like the kind of muted tone of that weaving, and I'm just styling it with a very large coffee table book that's a collection of Rembrandt paintings that I picked up from a thrift shop for about $2. And I also have this little vintage lamp that's also from a thrift shop from a while back that I'm putting right here, and this is all hooked in with the lamps sconces that are above the sofa, so they all come on at the same time, which I like. And just a side candle there, a couple of coasters, and this is good to go. While I love finding deals in thrift shops, it never hurts to add Facebook Marketplace into your search, because you never know what you'll find. I ended up getting a great deal on this, and also the coat rack as well to make those hooks in the beginning. So it was a great week for Facebook Marketplace for me. So my hope is always that these videos will inspire you to see what you can find affordably as you work on curating a home that you love as well, and I hope today's video has done that. Please hit the like button before you go if you enjoyed the video, and leave me a comment letting me know what you enjoyed. And also come find me on Instagram. I hope that everyone listening has a fantastic week, and I'll see you at the next video.